Hey, what, I mean, how am I supposed to work like this?
Maybe we could have a party where everybody has fun. I know you said you'd try, but
I know.
One thing keeps happening after another.
I told you I'd get
having to rebuild it.
The car out of here.
Engines and bolts.
But I had to give away Olaf, my Audi. Now I have nothing to drive. I need to work, but I can't work like this. Look, it's very, very crowded.
You said it'd be a couple of months, and it's been nearly a year.
So it's gonna be like that, huh?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Miserable out there.
You win. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Yogi's Garage. We're back with Project Gunther. If you're new to the channel, we're working on a 1995 Mercedes-Benz E320 Wagon right here. And we're almost done with an engine replacement. For those of you who've been watching, we're back. We're about to start this engine for the first time. For the visitors, the engine was blown by somebody sticking nuts and bolts into the car. I had to yank the engine out and find another one at a salvage yard. I found one. It's in the car. Now I got to plumb everything back up, get the electricity working on it, and make sure nothing's going to blow up. And for those of you guys keeping score, you know that I'm getting really close to 1,000 subscribers, and I really still need your help. Spread the word, share it, let people know that this channel exists. My goal in this channel has always been information, but also with a little twist of entertainment. And with Yogi Mama around now, it's a blast, and you're gonna get a lot of Yogi Mama in this episode. So with that said, let's get started. Okay, I don't know how artists can work in conditions like this, but I'll manage. I mean, what is it, 102 degrees outside? And what is it in here? 77? Oh my God, how can I work in these conditions? I'll try really hard. All right, just kidding, guys. I know some of you guys in the garages out there are sweating your huevos off. Well, not here in Yogi's Garage. I've been piddling around, figuring out what I want to do, but I think I've got a game plan here. These are all the pieces that have to go back on the car. Yeah, believe it or not, it's not a whole lot, right? Because most of the stuff is already on the car. I just need to put the top part on and make sure that this, of course, here is the wiring harness. So I've got a plan forward. As I mentioned, I'm going to try to follow the fuel air spark timing. I don't think that's really going to work here. I don't know, whatever. But these are in an order, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I think. Anyway, I'm going to start here and work my way around and just start putting parts on. I'm going to work on this side, then I'll come around and work on this side, and at the same time, I'll be getting the accessories back on. So, less jibba jabba, more work. All right, let's kick this off with the wiring harness. All right, let's rock. I'm going to kick off my time lapse. We'll knock it out real quick. Oh, it's already running. Awesome. I didn't realize the camera was zoomed in that much, so I apologize, but there's a lot of work going on here. Right, getting the beginnings of the wiring harness in place. And then, oh, there we go. We're in on that one. I'm going to screw that in with a little Phillips head. And then this one here hooks under and then latches on. And it's going to take two hands. All right, it made a nice healthy click sound when it went in. This one here I'm going to hit with a screwdriver, and then what I'm going to do now is trace it and figure out where the natural bends are occurring, and then trace it out, put it back where it belongs. I got a few things I need to repair here as well, so I'm going to do that now. And of course, along the way, it's best that you repair any damage that you find to your wiring harness before you put it back in, because you don't want to be chasing gremlins when you're trying to start your car for the first time. There are some differences between this engine, which is the donor, and the one that I pulled out. I expected it. The first one that I ran into is here on the water pump. this connector here is different than the one that I pulled off of Gunther. And unfortunately, the black casing came off, so I'm gonna have to super glue that back on or melt it back on or somehow. But that goes into this cable here. So I'm just gonna pop that off. That's a 19 mil, this here is a 22 mil, and replace the sensor. And I have a feeling that some of these other connectors I'm gonna have the same issue with because they're just not perfect matches. Again, if anybody knows, there we go. If anybody knows the difference in the engine, let me know, man, because it's kind of bugging me. Looks like there's a crush washer. Very soon I'm gonna be able to recommend brands and tools, but I'm at 914 as of this video. So if you guys wanna help me out, get to 1,000, then I'm gonna start recommending tools and suppliers on where I get a lot of this stuff. But here is my collection of O-ring or crush washers, and what I want to do is just find one that matches. That looks like that's the culprit right there. Yep. All right, let's swap it out. All right, and there. For some reason, the previous installer put Teflon tape on this thing, so who am I to argue, right? Let's put this in here, trying to be careful not to knock any of that dust in there. How did I miss that? Or dirt. Anyway, I'll know pretty quickly if this doesn't need Teflon because it will leak. All right. I think this needs one Ugga-Dugga. Ugga-Dugga. All right, it's on there. And there. All right, so I put the plug on there. It was a compression or a crush washer right there as well. So I tightened that all up and we should be good to go there. It looks like it was just a temperature sensor. I'm gonna clean up that AC compressor a little bit and wrap up that wire. You can see there that's exposed. This will be the only opportunity I'll have to do that because the power steering pump sits right here. So let me clean that up. All right, and there. I used a combination of electrical tape. I left the shielding on there because it looks like it's a fiberglass shielding. So I'm assuming it's probably for heat insulation. So I wrapped it in electrical tape and then I wrapped it in fabric tape as well. So that should be fine. That orange Bowden cable comes from the transmission. And when I put the car in, I left the cable with the transmission. So I had to snake it all the way back up under the firewall and back over to connect to the throttle. All right, throttle cable is in. The transmission cable is also in. Pretty simple to do. You screw this back in, clip it. If you've seen my dismantling or takeout video, you'll know how to do all this. But again, this is not an instructional video, just kind of letting you know what I'm doing here. All right, I'm moving on. I'm gonna work on the heater core now. This guy plugs in right to the back there. It's gotta be done now, obviously, because you don't wanna get caught with your intake manifold and fuel rail in and you haven't done that step. So let's knock it out. Yep, same problem here, too zoomed in, but there's the power steering pump at the top of the screen being installed. All right, I'm making really good progress here. I've got the power steering pump, as you saw in the time lapse. I've got that in. I've got the mechanical dial or screw style tensioner in place. I'm gonna replumb these hoses. They are in pretty bad shape. I'm pretty sure that those are some spots where they're leaking and I wanna avoid that, obviously. But the big difference is this right here. I don't know if you can see that brass bracket looking thing with this, yeah, there. So this connector here is a combined port of both knock sensors on the block. And you can see that here, this wire here goes to the knock sensor port here. Well, on the Gunther engine, it looks like this. Notice that it does not have that junction port. So I'm gonna take these knock sensors off and replace them on the donor engine. Keep swapping parts. I want to replumb everything in the power steering because this thing was leaking. So I want to rerun this hose. So I took the other one out, and there's some pretty good sediment down there. So I think I'm going to pull the whole housing off, take it out, and, you know, beat it up with some brake cleaner. Let's see if I can get this up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, just a little crud down there. Yeah, there's some nasty sludge. Look at that sludge. Yeah. Oh, and you can tell that that's exactly where the line goes in. So basically you're putting sludge into your system. So clean it. I put a little bit of oil eater in here. You can see it sloshing around in there. And I'm just gonna cap my hand and give it a little shake. Get that crap out of there. Oh yeah, much better. All right, and you know, like everything else in Yogi's garage, I can never ever put a dirty, disgusting part back into a dirty, disgusting car. I'm just not wired that way. I don't know, it's my shtick, and I'm sticking with it. So let's do this, clean this up, scrub it down, and take a look at it when it's done, huh? All right. I think that's a pretty good soaking. I like to do it behind the scenes magically. So here we go. And there. It's always gonna be yellow, but it doesn't have to be dirty. Look at that, listen to that. Ooh, that's squeaky clean. Yogi-like, Yogi-like. Okay, it is plumbed. Plumbed there, plumbed there. Everything looks good. New hoses everywhere. I'm ready to get this guy back together. What the heck is this? It's just sitting here. I looked up the brand, Beirut, Ireland, and they typically do glow plugs and ignition systems for Mercedes. So did the previous owner think this is a go? I don't know. If you know what it is, tell me. There's the part number. I looked it up. I couldn't find anything on it. Let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave it there. Sweaty. So I am basically reversing everything that I did when I took the engine out. And right now I'm on the exhaust bracket. Yogi Mama's slowly walking over towards me, avoiding all the obstacles on the floor, because that's where I'll be right there. That bracket you see there on the floor is what holds up the exhaust on the downside of the catalytic converter. So I just had to look at my old videos to remember how it all went together. It's been 6 weeks since I put this car on the jacks. And my praying stance.
Is it something that I could give you a zip tie and that would make up for not having
I think I've got one of them in.
Oh.
I just had to do one at a time.
Yeah.
And then just swing it up like that. All right, go ahead and lower that exhaust. Yep, that's good. Just stop right there. That's good.
All right, making progress. I got the exhaust basically fitted. Now I just got to get it all together. It's a snug fit, but it's working. Yeah, so anyway, got to finish getting the exhaust in, and then we can move on with the intake. So let me see. This is like old. Yeah, this is the old hose. Yeah, there. Okay. So those two will coincide with those right there. Yeah, it's always something. That would have cracked anyway. So I really can't get this thing installed until I fix this pipe. So I need to go order it. That's just great. Oh man, so it's been about a week since I've been able to do any work on this car because of that hose. But it finally came in, and let me show you what the new one looks like compared to the old one, and you'll see why I needed to replace it. Check it out. Yeah, so this is the old one that I showed earlier in the video that I tried to get into the area between the throttle body and the engine block, but it broke on the way in because it's such a rigid plastic. So this is that breather hose, and this is the replacement. Listen. Yeah, that needed to be replaced. And here is the tinier breather hose. And it's not that bad. It's a little bit more malleable, but these things were like $2.50 each. So say it with me, folks, while you're in there. Yeah, so let's take a look at what this one sounds like. I need to crack it open. Old one. Yeah. This is going to do a couple of things for me. First one, obviously, it's going to prevent leaks. The other thing is that since it's more flexible, I'm going to be able to get these in without a problem. You know, the issues that I had with getting the intake manifold out was because this thing would always give me a hard time, but not the case now. So, all right, let's get to work, man. This one goes right here, down in there. Let me turn my light on. Oh, it's so beautiful when things are new. There, it goes like that. So it's kind of facing towards the center here. And then this next one goes down here on that little nipple down there. I like saying that word. You guys like that word, nipple? I love that word. Oh, so much easier. You know, if I didn't know any better, I think you really didn't need hose clamps on that thing. I was just getting ready to put the dipstick back in because it has to go in before I put the intake manifold on. And this happened. And it's a good thing I have the donor. I'm gonna go check the donor and see if that'll work in here. Yeah, this will work. It's even got the bracket still attached to it. Yeah, so I'll just take this O-ring off and put it on there because that one didn't have one. All right, we're back in business. There we go. That's a much better angle. Yeah, the dipstick idea did not work. You're gonna see me pull it out here in a second. It would have worked. It would have just been a big hassle to do it all at one time. All right, I got all the intake manifold bolts ready to go. What I want to do is just give them a squirting of this silicone stuff. It makes it easier to thread them in. It's unfortunate that you have to take the fuel rail off each and every time you need to work on the intake manifold. Also, the bolt placement all the way in the back, you'll see I had to take the oil filter out in order to get an Allen key to tighten up the bottom bolt in the back. They don't make these bolts very easy to torque. It's like they almost don't want you to. This is really annoying. Switching between longs and shorts and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there's no way in hell I'm gonna get that bottom one on the inside. But I used an Allen key to get it as tight as I could. Next owner, I apologize. But you'll be happy to know that bolt had been missing on Gunther for a while. Okay, all torqued up. Right. So what I want to do is just clip these injectors back in. I followed my own video to recall which goes where. Yeah, let me go tighten these up. All right, where are we on this list? Okay. So I think we're done with the fuel system. Intake manifold, I mean, it's not completely fastened in, so I'll have to tighten that up, so I can't do that yet. So we're gonna be doing plumbing now. Tensioner's done. Vacuum lines, well, you know, it's coming. It's coming together. Oil system, yes, but I haven't put any oil in it. Speedo cable, transmission cable, shift link, sway bars.
So what's happening down here?
I'm reconnecting the transmission, speedo cable, the control module, and then some other power unit. But I'm not even sure why I'm doing that, because this transmission has got a major leak. But I just want to get everything back together. And then I got to do the shifter linkage.
I couldn't have asked for better timing. That right there is automatic transmission fluid dripping out of that mentioned port.
And the grounds, gonna make sure all of the grounds are grounded.
On their speedo cable, done. Transmission cable, done. Shift linkage cable, done. This will be one of the last things I do. I'm putting the fan back on now. I've got the belt routed, and I want to show you how I routed the belt just as soon as I get this threaded. It's being difficult. All right. And then, so let me show you the belt routing before this gets too crowded. So as I mentioned, I'm doing a smog pump delete. For those of you complaining that I'm doing that, well, it's a 1995 engine. The smog pump never worked. The replacement smog pump is about $350 to $400. That's what I paid for the entire engine. And I won't be driving this car a whole lot, so chillax. It won't be a big deal if I take the smog pump off, which I did. So anyway, you need a 93 centimeter belt to replace it. And this thing is perfect. In fact, I'll play a little musical note for you. Nice and tight, so we're good. All right, so I'm gonna get the fan back on and I'm gonna put the radiator on and start plumbing everything back up. We're getting real close. Let's do it. Yeah, I'm just like spinning in a circle and it's not threading in.
That's quite the grip you have on that fan. It looks like you did some damage to it.
Yeah, it got in my way when I was trying to take the engine. I told it, don't get in my way, fan. I couldn't take the fan off because the bolt was stripped, and it's so crowded here that it's really hard to do that. And speaking of holes, I need to fill this, but it's not cooperating.
Huh. Story of your life, huh?
Indeed. This thing, get in there. You want to go?
Sure.
Here.
Where am I putting it?
The same exact place I'm putting it.
Ah, that little hole right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Look at that. She gets it on the first effing try.
Anything else?
Well, I need to see how long that bolt is, so keep going until it's all the way in. Gonna make sure it clears the pulley. You know you can use a tool, right?
Where? No, I didn't know. That's it.
Okay, phew. That is close. That bolt right there, the threaded end is real close to the pulley. I'm gonna just kind of make it do its thing. You can move it, make it easier for you, but I don't think you need any more ease. Once you get it threaded, I can step up.
Well, there you go, step up.
Here you go. I can't handle these little threads. I can only do the big bolts. At least that's what I tell my therapist. And this dirty old radiator sits on this radiator support
Right,
brace.
before you put it in, let me show the supports. Those little rings right there. Okay.
Yeah, it just sits right on those grommets. And if you aim properly, which I did not. Oh, that goes down there. There, okay. See, it's a good thing I did that. Look at this. Forget about it. I'm so anxious to get this done. You know, I'm looking for my lube. Lube. You know how it is, man. You gotta have it nice and slippery.
Otherwise you can't get it in the hole?
That's right. So let's see. I think like that. What I'll do next is I have these little clips here and here that hold the radiator in place. And this is gonna have to be readjusted. I'm wondering if I should do it now because the engine insisted on bending the car.
That's because we didn't know how to take it out properly.
Shh. No, it's not. It's the engine's fault. Okay, there. Whew. I'm like an old lady's back. I mean, an old man's back, sorry.
How could he find what he's looking for?
Look, I never clean my tray until I'm done with a project. There's no point. Once I'm done with a project, then I put everything back and clean it all up. There's a stubby flathead in there somewhere. You want to help me find it?
In where? In this
in
tray
here.
somewhere?
Yes.
There is a stubby. Okay.
Yes, there's a shorty.
You are going to take like a still screenshot of this.
Well played, Yogi Mama. Well played.
See if anybody else can play the game and find it.
I'm doing the bottom part now, and I gotta put the transmission cooling lines back on. All right, that's good. So I'm thinking this one goes all the way to the top. I'm gonna have to look, because this was so long. I'm thinking it goes like this. Yep. Yep, that's right. Okay, so now you can come up there and help me.
Okay, so I was able to get this threaded. Yogi is now down there.
I'm trying to pull this plug out. I put little rubber plugs in all of these lines so that they don't spill all over the floor when the car is being moved, jacked up, or anything. So I think he's trying to save me from myself. Here it comes. Ew. Not much. Okay.
So I'm thinking I'm gonna use the same plug technology that I've been using for plugging, you know, fuel lines and things like that while I'm removing engines to keep fluids in. But now I'm gonna keep whatever comes out of here, whatever goes into here in. So I'm gonna use one of my little silicone plugs. Jam that up in there. That won't go anywhere. And then I'm gonna plug up that vacuum line with a little tiny one. Ground starter wire, oil level sensor, that is done. Oil system, that's a fill. I'm gonna be doing that next. Vacuum lines for the transmission, I did that as well. That's that check blow-off valve, that's complete. Motor mount bolts, complete. Let's talk about the hydraulic fluid and the power steering fluid on this wagon. Okay, now I figured out what they meant by when they said this is a tandem pump. Tandem obviously means that it does two things at the same time, but I thought it was just one hydraulic system, but it is not. What you see here, this can, is the power steering reservoir. And what you see over here is the reservoir for the SLS or self-leveling system that all wagons have. So this Pentosin CHF 11S is equivalent to the ZHM that it's recommending. And then for the power steering flow, I'm using a multi-vehicle synthetic from AMSOIL, and as well as AMSOIL oil. So before I move on, let me tell you a little bit about AMSOIL and why I decided to use them. Well, first and foremost, I am a independent dealer for AMSOIL, so there's that. But I'm going with AMSOIL because I believe that it is an incredibly affordable oil and it performs very, very well. And if you don't believe me, be sure to check out Project Farm's review on synthetic motor oils, and you'll see that AMSOIL has always ranked in the top. So if you're interested in knowing more about AMSOIL, be sure to click that link in my description, and you can get a 25% discount on your purchases through my special code, which is listed below. And like I said, these are really, really good synthetics. I also have a bunch of other different chemicals that I'm getting from them that I'll cover with you later, but I wanted to let you know my purpose with using AMSOIL. I've double checked all my plumbing here to make sure everything looks good, and I'll immediately know if it's leaking, so we'll see. This thing takes almost 2 gallons. You know, it's a good thing that I checked to make sure what this is, right? It shows you right here, use this type of fluid, but I was confused as to why there were 2 reservoirs, and as I mentioned in the video, this is because this uses a specific hydraulic fluid, not a power steering fluid. I'm not a chemist. I don't know anything about, you know, the differences other than follow the instructions and put in there what's supposed to go in there. And this stuff here, I got it on Amazon for like $27, but for those of you guys know what this runs locally, it's usually about 37 to 40 bucks if you buy it from a local supplier in your city. It is what it is, man. Looks like mint sauce. What's mint sauce? I'm gonna line this up just right so that it goes in there without binding. There. All right, power steering. And I bought a bunch of bottles. I don't know, I guess I'm expecting a huge leak. I haven't found a tandem pump rebuild video on YouTube, if you can believe that, so I guess I'll be the first. If you haven't seen that video, and that means all of you, because last I checked after 2 hours, only about 7 people have checked my video out. So somebody needs to watch it. Oh, look, it's not red. Oh, you know what? Red is hydraulic fluid for the transmission. That's a little bit over. Good, didn't have to use all of it. Okay. Now, this thing takes 8 quarts. 7.9 something, I think. So I'm gonna put in about 7 quarts, run it, and then add the rest. Drink it up, baby. All right, correction, it takes 8.5 quarts. I don't have an oil cooler, so it's only gonna take that. If I did, it would take 9 quarts. So who's ever doing this job, be sure you make a note of that. So I'm definitely gonna put the other gallon in here because it takes it. Hey, big surprise, my camera overheated. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put the spark plugs in, but before I do, before this camera overheats, I'm gonna pour a little bit more Marvel's Mystery Oil down each one of the spark plug tubes, just to kind of give it a little extra lubricant on the initial crank. And I know I put some in one already, but a little bit more won't hurt. Except, you know, making it really smoky in here. Oops. All right, I made a big mess. But this car is a big mess. This old wagon only takes 3 ignition coils. These spark plugs only need about 15 Newton meters, if that. All right, put the coils in.
Hey, Yogi.
Hey.
What's going on?
Well, I'm getting ready to start this car for the first time. But what I want to do is get some oil pressure built up before I ignite the system. So I'm going to pull the fuel pump relay out here. That's what this is. It's a fuel pump relay. So I'm gonna take that out for now,
So when I run it, it won't be trying to pump fuel into it.
Today's the day.
Today's the day, I think.
Don't think, do.
I've got a sensor here that I don't know where that goes to, so I'll have to figure out where that goes. Hope it doesn't keep me from starting. Okay, so. Okay, there we go. See anything squirt out, tell me to stop.
Okay.
Alright. Ooh, that's not good.
That's not what I want to hear.
Lights on?
No?
There's no power. I had one connector that was not connected and it came right off the positive lead of the battery, so sparks. But now I have a dome light, so I know we got power. All right, so again, I'm just gonna turn the car over to get some oil pressure going.
Okay.
Okay. Now wait about 30 seconds.
Fuel relay, huh?
Yes, I'm gonna put the fuel relay back in now that I've got fuel pressure, oil pressure. Where did it go? Oh, it's upside down. Okay, here we go. Yep, and then the cap. Good. Okay,
Moment of truth.
moment of truth.
Oh.
Here we go. Camera, I took out.
Pacing the floor, people.
I have a lot at stake here, you know? I got my reputation. I got my beautiful wife that I don't want to burst into flames if I miss something.
I've already burned all the hair off my face once in my life.
That's for another story, but another day.
Another day.
But yes. Okay.
Get it. I'm focusing here.
Now, I did this before when I started Olaf. I had a look on my face. See if I can recreate that. Okay, here we go. Now you hear the pump. That's what the squirt sound was. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Prime the pump one more time. All right, we're gonna let it sit for a few minutes. It's not getting fuel. Recording.
I'm recording, but I can't see.
All right, well, that's fine. All right, I found out where that connector goes. It goes onto the flywheel sensor, which makes sense. If it can't detect where the engine is, then, ooh, that is, I feel like it's just missing. I don't have my camera, I can't see shit. All right, this is the sensor that's missing completely off of the engine, which explains why I didn't know where it went. So I'm gonna take this off and see, it's just a magnetic sensor. It measures where the flywheel is. And if it doesn't know where the flywheel is, it can't ignite the system. Okay. This will be the last attempt for the day because I need a beer and a shower. You know, my wife and I have other jobs that help pay for all this fun stuff we're doing because nobody else is paying me.
But that could change, you know.
Yeah, I just need some more subscribers, man.
What, 75 more?
75 more subscribers, and then I'll have 1,000. I can get compensation, not much, but it helps pay for stuff on the channel.
So tell your friends.
Yes, spread the word. All right, let's do this.
All right, I'm in position. I have a front row view.
Doing this again.
This is gonna happen.
Hey-o!
No smoke.
High five, motherfucker! Oh! It's not misfiring.
It looks good. Sounds good. How about that beer?
How about that beer? Okay, well, I got the car started. Near the end, it revved up real high, so I cut the engine. And it's also squirting some coolant out of the reservoir, so I gotta figure all that out. But you heard it, it's not misfiring. It sounds great. Now I'm gonna button it all up, and then I gotta figure out what's going on with the transmission. I know that it's leaking on the passenger side, and some module there I've heard is where it can leak. Well, it's leaking really bad. So for you guys watching this video, let me know what's on the left side of that transmission that would be causing it to leak like that, because I can't move this car out of here for Yogi Mama until I can make the wheels move. And right now, the only thing moving is the engine. So with that said, I know it's been a while, and I've been dropping videos every few weeks. It's been tough because parts are pretty scarce for the Porsche. I still don't have the connecting rods there, but I promise you I'm getting back to the Porsche as soon as I can. But please like and subscribe. If you don't like what you see, hit a thumbs down. I don't care. Engage with me. I love you guys, and we'll see you next time on Yogi's Garage.
Yo, microphone check, make it a microphone check. Give it a microphone, I make it a microphone dead. Don't step to me, newbie, I could truly be moody. I could have played the fucking Grinch in the movies. I've been a part-time shadow cat, part-time. That is not a guy that I would ever want to try to battle rap. Snap, crackle, pop, mind.